Spain is the champion of the World Cup. The NBA schedule makers are waiting on LeBron James' decision. Have Jalen Hurts been disrespected by his peers in the media and his Bo Knicks overrated by his peers in the league? Plus, Brendan and Josh break down WWE Saturday night's main event as well as the MLB All-Star Game as championship rings on this Tuesday, July 21st, 2026 begins now.
All right, well, we are here, and yes, Josh is here tonight. As you guys saw last week, we're still having some technical difficulties with Josh's camera on the back end. But Josh, you are here. I'm Brandon Woods. Those are Brandon's World. You are Josh Ungar. Ungar to the Max. Those are the Sports Room Talk Show. And we're starting off tonight with a topic that I never thought in my lifetime I would do an actual topic on a show about, and that is the World Cup.
Yes, because I've been getting on you the last couple weeks to actually watch it. And you texted me when I saw that we were leading off with this. I'm like, wait, you want to lead off with the World Cup?
I do, because it is the biggest story in sports. And I did watch from the 90 minutes on, whatever it ended up being, an extra 20 additional minutes with extra time. That will be the most soccer I will have watched in the next 4 years. But, I mean, listen, I didn't have a dog in this fight until the very end because I decided to empty out, excuse me, what was left on my FanDuel account before I get into football season on Argentina. That was clearly a bad idea. And, yeah, Spain wins 1-0 in a very physical game, where Argentina only had one shot on goal, and Spain completes maybe the greatest defensive performance in World Cup history, giving up only one goal in the span of 8 games.
Yes, and they gave up that goal against Belgium, but otherwise, you are correct. They didn't give up any goals, which is amazing to me when you think about the game of soccer, how big those goals are. You would think more often than not, you get scores like 5-4, 6-3, scores like that. But no, you get games that are sometimes 0-0, 2-1, 1-0, like what we saw in the World Cup. But Argentina did not play well at all in that game. Spain pretty much dominated possession time. They were the more physical team. Argentina was complaining about seemingly every call. They had to play a lot of the game a man down because one of their key players, I believe it was Martinez, if I'm not mistaken, got 2 yellow cards, which is equivalent to getting a red card, and he was not allowed to play the rest of the game. So
yeah, and Spain again from the outset, you were right. They were the more physical team. Reminded me a lot of what we talked about in the NBA playoffs, which is where there's going to be more physicality. You got to play for the whistle. I mean, the refs mostly let them play, and Spain came with an edge. And let's face it, Argentina probably shouldn't even have beat England. So, I thought it was strange, the fact that everybody seemingly was on Argentina's side because of Messi, yet Spain was favored the whole time leading up to the game. That probably should have told us something. But I thought Argentina, just the inability to even get down to the zone and get a shot on goal, until the last penalty kick of the game was absurd. And it's really, to me, shows you that in soccer, truthfully, defense wins championships. You talked about the fact that you would think it'd be high scoring. I sort of compare it a little bit to hockey, right? Where it's like some games you could go into a shootout. Other games are 5-4 and 6-5. So, but Spain wins the World Cup for the first time since 2010. And they really dominated. I mean, if you look at their World Cup, they were the best team throughout.
Oh, yeah. And their main guy is only 19 years old in Lamine Yamal. And, of course, you probably saw the picture on social media, Messi and Yamal, when Yamal was much younger. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So that's crazy. Messi finishes his career, because I don't think he's going to play in the next World Cup. 1-2 in World Cup finals. Of course, winning in 2022 against France and losing this one. And I believe they also lost in 2018, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you're right on that as well. So if you think about that, they made the World Cup final in 18, 22, and 26. A great run for Argentina, but they were and even I noticed it, again, only watching the back half of the game and not knowing a ton about soccer. That's what I always say about a sport. Like, if you don't know a lot about a sport, but if I can tell a team is not right or a team is not executing well, it's a bad sign. Argentina was very Messi dependent, and he was really the only one that had any opportunity at any shot at the goal.
No, you're right. I love this. This is one of my campers. What's up, Aaron? Argentina sold the game. You could say that. But
I would just say Spain beat them. I mean, I don't think this is an art. And by the way, I got to give credit to Argentina, because very easily that game could have been 3-0, 4-0. They had no business being in the game.
That's because of their unbelievable performance by their goalie.
Which again, to me is very similar. It's very similar to hockey, right? If they always say in baseball, right, you got to have great pitching. In hockey, you got to have a great goalie. You can't win without a great goalie, and I think the same is true in soccer.
Yeah. No, Spain was the better team all the way around. Lamine Yamal didn't really do much in that game, and yet they still ended up winning. So they're not as star.
There was a couple of times where Spain had a wide open shot and either missed it off the pole or the one. And I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the player, but they did score. I think it was like close to 90 minutes, but it was called back due to a foul. That would have essentially iced the game. Listen, I was rooting for this thing to go to penalty kicks, because if it went to penalty kicks, even on the broadcast, they kept saying, "Oh, this is where Argentina thrives." And it's very similar to an NHL shootout. I think it's the most thrilling thing that soccer offers. I will give soccer this. Again, from someone who was not really interested in the World Cup, it's more physical of a game than I thought it was. They let more things go than I realized they did. I'm a big fan of slide tackling. Kind of wish it was legal everywhere and it's a free-for-all. It's a good game. Was it captivating for me? Again, not really. I think it would have been different if the U.S. would have been in it. I think I would have had a better rooting interest. But for 20 minutes on a Sunday, a non-football Sunday, was it something I'd watch? Sure.
Yeah, I'm a full-fledged soccer fan now.
That was the question I was going to get to.
I am full-fledged soccer now. Even though the World Cup is over, I still have Major League Soccer to watch. We have Hell is Real on Saturday between FC Cincinnati and the Columbus Crew. That is one of the bigger rivalries in Major League Soccer. Messi is going back to play for Inter Miami. So, yeah, I am a full-fledged soccer fan. Bayern Munich is my favorite team. They're part of the Bundesliga in Germany, followed by the Columbus Crew, and then Chelsea. So, yeah, I will still be paying attention. The next World Cup isn't for another 4 years. So, in that time, how many of the fans that tuned in for this World Cup will actually stick around? I don't know.
Well, actually, the Women's World Cup is next year.
Yes, that is correct.
So, we'll see, again, how many of those transfer over. It'll be interesting because I keep hearing that Posentino had only a year with this U.S. men's soccer team. Usually a coach gets 4 years. There's talks he may or may not come back. So, we were talking throughout the World Cup when we did do a little bit of topic on this on the show, was that this is the U.S.'s best shot to get to maybe the Final Four, maybe even the championship game, and they go out in the Elite Eight, if you will. And, it does feel like the U.S. missed a major opportunity.
Even if we had beaten Belgium, I don't think we would have beaten Spain.
Yeah, because of Spain's dominance in the defensive end. I mean, again, you saw it. Spain, in my opinion, proved once again why they were the favorite going into this game against Argentina when Argentina seemingly had the best player on the field. And I just think incredible job by Spain's goalie to only give up 1 goal in 8 games with the professional skill level that's on that field.
Yes. And before we get into our next topic, I have a conspiracy theory, which I wish my camera was working, but
good. I'm glad you brought this up because I was going to transition with what you texted me. So I'll let you do it. Go ahead.
All right. So here's my conspiracy theory. In 2010, who won the World Cup? That would be Spain. And where did LeBron James take his talents to? South Beach to link up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and join the Miami Heat. In 2026, who won the World Cup? That would be Spain. Giannis is in Miami. I think LeBron James is going back to Miami to be part of the Heat once again.
So I was very public and very adamant about that LeBron was waiting for the World Cup to be over and that he was going to announce his decision either Sunday night or Monday morning. And it is currently Tuesday at 6:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And LeBron James is still a free agent for 21 consecutive days. It was 3 weeks today, actually. The Lakers showed LeBron the door. And I will reiterate to those of you that may be watching us for the first time tonight, what I have been saying on this show over the past couple of weeks, that LeBron has already made his decision. That he is just waiting for the right time to announce it. Now, why they're waiting this long, I don't know. It may be having to do with something contractually. Maybe the Cavs are trying to get rid of Max Strus. Maybe the Warriors are still trying to acquire Anthony Davis. And I get what you're saying, Josh. And I know these markets all over the place are now saying the Heat are the favorite. 2 days ago, the Cavs were I don't buy any of these poly markets. I don't think they really know any inside information. But I will say this because I want to touch on your Miami point. Because, again, if you're LeBron and all the reports out there are saying he wants happiness, well, in my opinion, if he wants happiness and doesn't want to compete for a championship, the best place to have fun would be Golden State. If he wants to win a championship, the best place to do that would be Cleveland. Why, outside of Giannis, and Bam Adebayo is a really good player, and sure they have Davion Mitchell and Andrew Wiggins. I know Tim Hardaway just signed there, but that doesn't move the needle for anyone. So why, outside of Giannis, is Miami even considered an option, is my question.
I think it's because he has history in Miami. That's where he won his first championship. He went to the finals 4 straight years with the Heat. Granted, he did the same thing in Cleveland. That was the string when he went to 8 straight finals, I think it was. 2011 to 2018, which is still insane to me. But the reason he had so much success in Miami those 4 years is not just because he was playing with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. It's because they put shooters around him like Mike Miller, Ray Allen, a reliable point guard in Mario Chalmers, who showed he can hit big shots. Shane Battier. They had an energy guy in Chris Anderson. We saw in that 2013 NBA Finals, they would put a lineup out there where it was Chris Anderson at the center, LeBron, Ray Allen, Mike Miller, and Mario Chalmers. So then in that scenario, You get the reliable point guard play of Mario Chalmers. You have two shooting around LeBron and Ray Allen and Mike Miller. And you have you still have a big man in Chris Anderson.
That's my point. Compare that roster to the roster Miami has now. It's not even close. I mean, I think Cleveland and Philadelphia's roster as is without LeBron are better than that Miami roster.
It's hard to say with the Cavs because
you're telling me I would take what the Cavs have and Donovan Mitchell, and I would assume James Harden would be back, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley over Giannis and a bunch of spare parts. Now, Bam Adebayo is a good player, but Bam, scored 83 points, whatever it was last year, because he shot 43 throws in one game. But I always thought Bam was underrated. But, I mean, you could say he's like the level of maybe a Jared Allen, maybe a little bit better. You can make the argument. But, okay, after that, Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, it doesn't even compare to Andrew Wiggins or Davion Mitchell or Tim Hardaway or whoever else they have.
That part is true.
For me, here's the thing that scares me as a Cavs fan. Because I think right now, the Sixers have a better roster for LeBron to win than the Cavs. But LeBron has no history with Philadelphia. And I do think that fit a little bit with Jaylen Brown and Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe would be more weirder than Cleveland because of the VJ Edgecombe factor, because that rookie is going to want to shoot the ball. And LeBron there would almost be a fourth legitimate scoring option, as opposed to Cleveland where he would be a third. And on some nights, if Harden wants to take back, he'd be your second.
Analytically, he would be your first.
Yeah, to your point, Aaron, the Sixers are trying to get LeBron. To be honest with you, if I had to guess, truthfully, I think it's down to Cleveland and Miami. I think Golden State has been out of the running for a while since they didn't get Anthony Davis and since they re-signed Kristaps Porzingis. The Miami thing, I think, would only be like, hey, I return to Cleveland. Why don't I return to Miami?
This whole thing could be that Anthony Davis becomes extension eligible, I think, at the beginning of August, if I'm not mistaken. I believe I read August 6th. So
he can't wait that long because, to our topic on the screen bar, Adam Silver, and you guys know I have bashed Adam Silver on this show repeatedly over the last couple of months, but I'm going to defend him here. He came out yesterday and said, come on, LeBron, make a decision. We got to put pen to paper on our Christmas Day schedule, our opening week, our MLK, some of our Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, like our big games. We got to ink in some teams, and we're not going to put the Cavs on there if you're not there, or Miami or Golden State, etc. Like, make up your mind, bro.
Yeah. Like, if he comes back to Cleveland, does that mean the Cavs actually get to open the season at home? Does that mean we get to actually host a Christmas Day game?
Oh, here's what I'm doing. If he comes back to Cleveland, I think the Cavs have the Knicks as your opening night game.
Oh, why would you have to traumatize me like that, man?
Because you got the world champs against LeBron coming home. It was the opposite in 2014 where the Knicks came into Cleveland. And you could do that maybe on a Thursday, like the Knicks' first road game of the year. But I think NBC, LeBron's first game back as a Cavs, no, it's not going to be at home, but it's against the world champions in the Mecca, Madison Square Garden. That is box office.
Yeah, they did that 2 straight opening nights. Because when LeBron came back to Cleveland, that was the opening matchup. And when we won our championship, the banner raising and ring ceremony game was against the Knicks.
Oh, you're right. I did forget about that.
I was at that game. It was the same night as Game 1 of the World Series.
Yes, it was.
Between the Cubs and the Indians. I remember a lot of fans bought tickets for both. They stayed for the banner raising and then went over to Progressive Field to watch Game 1.
Shoot, if it's Miami, I think you could also do Miami next. Because I told you this before. I think you save Spurs Knicks as the first game Christmas Day at noon. Because you're going up against Packers Bears at 1 o'clock on Netflix Christmas Day. You got to throw a haymaker in there.
Yeah.
And, maybe the 2:30 game, maybe you do Cavs Celtics if LeBron is there. I don't know. Maybe you do Thunder Nuggets, something along those lines. Maybe T-Wolves Nuggets. You got the NBA is gonna. I know the NBA is gonna want to put big games, which is why they're waiting for LeBron to make his decision. And typically, the NBA schedule comes out the first week in August.
Yeah, sometimes the NBA schedule comes out around now.
Well, if you ask baseball, it should come out around now because they already got the 2027 schedule out. What a freaking joke!
It really is. It really is.
But yeah, I mean, LeBron. Like, even us in Cleveland and me in the media, and a lot of people have said they're tired of this and I've been patient. If he doesn't make a decision by this time next week for our show, it's going to get dicey. Because Josh, I don't think he could wait till August.
At this point, what is he even waiting for? Like, I put out the idea, maybe he's waiting for Anthony Davis to become extension eligible. But, like, other than that, what is he waiting for?
Is he waiting for maybe the Cavs to move off Strus and Schroeder?
I don't know. Like, is he waiting to see if we get Jonathan Kuminga?
But if you do that, you can't afford LeBron. Like, from all reports, if LeBron is not a Cav, Jonathan Kuminga will be a Cav.
I don't know what he's waiting for. Like, the World Cup's been over for 2 days now. Like, I don't get it. Training camp's going to start shortly. The NFL season starts in 50 days, I think it is.
Yeah, and by the way, rookies are showing up to training camp this week.
Yeah, and the Hall of Fame game between the Arizona Cardinals and Carolina Panthers is at the end of this month.
Well, speaking of the NFL, ESPN released an article that they do every single year by media executives in the league. And again, this is not the players ranking, which we have another topic on that we're going to get to in a minute. But this is coaches and executives in the league. They rank the top 10 quarterbacks. And I'm going to go in order their ranking really fast. Number 1 is Josh Allen. Number 2 is Patrick Mahomes. Number 3 is Matthew Stafford. Number 4 is Joe Burrow. Number 5 is Lamar Jackson. Number 6 is Dak Prescott. Number 7 is Justin Herbert. Number 8 is Drake May. Number 9 is Jared Goff. And number 10 is Caleb Williams of the Chicago Bears. Now, a name that was noticeably missing from that top 10 list, in my humble opinion, is the guy on the screen, Jalen freaking Hurts, who it has also been reported that out of everybody on this list, Jalen Hurts came in as the 14th best quarterback in the league. Excuse me? The guy who's been to 2 NFC championship games in the last 3 years, 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years, a Super Bowl MVP, outplayed Patrick Mahomes. I would make the significant argument twice in 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years. And wait, he's barely above average in these coaches and executives' minds. You think Justin Herbert, who has never won a playoff game in his career, you think Caleb Williams, who in year 2 has only won 1 playoff game because of a miraculous comeback against the Green Bay Packers, you think Dak Prescott, who has never been to an NFC championship game in his career, you guys think they are all better than Jalen Hurts? What is this, a measurables contest? Because that's what it looks like to me. They're all the big, strong guys outside of Lamar Jackson.
The one explanation I can think of is that maybe it's the turmoil in terms of offensive coordinator. That's the one explanation I can think of.
Okay, but I would make this argument. He didn't get any, besides maybe Kevin Patullo. Maybe. You could make the case he got him fired. But on everyone else, Shane Steichen got a head coaching job. Oh, yeah. Kellen Moore got a head coaching job. Now, Brian Johnson, they just went on fire. So, I don't think he was working with Jalen Hurts in the system, but I think Jalen advocated for Kevin Patullo and then realized it wasn't working. And Nick Sirianni's the one that cut bait with Kevin Patullo. The front office is the one who cut bait with Brian Johnson. So that doesn't make any sense when Jalen Hurts got Shane Steichen and Kellen Moore literally had coaching jobs.
When I say like the turn, okay, let me rephrase. I mean the turnover of offensive coordinators.
But again, you can't blame him.
I'm not. Hold on.
He has had a different offensive coordinator every year of his career except for one.
You just made my point. I was not trying to say it was his fault that these offensive coordinators have gone out the building. I never said that. But it's the constant change. You just said it yourself. So thank you for making my point. He's had a different offensive coordinator basically every season since his rookie year.
And by the way, the only time that they had the same offensive coordinator, Steichen took over halfway through that first year because Sirianni gave up play calling, and then Steichen was retained the following year.
So if you don't have that stability, you're not going to be able to be consistent.
And by the way, he's got another one this year. His name's Sean Mannion. I think the system's going to work. A.J. Brown is not there anymore. Does that have something to do with it? I don't know. The only thing I know is Jalen Hurts wins a lot of football games. The Eagles, since Jalen Hurts became the starting quarterback, Josh, have the most wins in the National Football League. But this guy is barely above average. And I don't get upset at a lot of things. I really don't. This personally sounds like it's coming from someone that has a bias towards Jalen Hurts. The one that actually really bothered me the most was Dak Prescott. Come on. And maybe it's my Eagles-Cowboys bias. You can say what you want. I will take Jalen Hurts 365 days out of 365 days over Dak Prescott every day of the week.
It's Justin Herbert that I have more of an issue with, not Dak Prescott. I would take Jalen Hurts over Justin Herbert.
By the way, you know what's interesting about Justin Herbert? Guess who they have Justin Herbert over?
Oh, God.
Drake May, the guy who outplayed him and beat him in the wild card game, and they say Justin Herbert's a better quarterback.
That makes no sense.
Well, no. What can I ask? Because again, this is from people in the league. This is not players. There is a different list that we're going to talk about. That is the players list, which sometimes I think players are out of their minds too. But what is and I like Justin Herbert a lot too. I think the Chargers are going to have a really great year this year. Spoiler alert. But Justin Herbert has yet to win and play well. I'll even add that in a playoff game.
Where is Cam Ward on that list? I want to know.
That's a good question because I believe he'd be towards the bottom. They only publish the top 10. I know from other sports shows when they were doing this topic, they said that they got like the inside subscription that Jalen Hurts is 14th. I don't know where Cam Ward is.
Because I am really high on Cam Ward this season. I think the Titans...
I would imagine he's like in the 25s. I would imagine from people in the league, he's like Shedeur Sanders level.
I think the Titans are going to be really good this season. I'm very high on Tennessee.
By the way, I also find this interesting because I disagree with this. they think Jared Goff is better than Caleb Williams. Now it's close. It's Caleb's at 10, Jared Goff is at 9, but I would flip them.
Not yet. I would say Jared Goff is a little more proven. I want to see Caleb do it again.
What I would say. I think Caleb. Excuse me. Sorry, I keep joking. But I think Caleb has done more with less than what Goff has done. I think that Goff has shown, and if he doesn't have a good offensive line, he really struggles. And he really struggles when he's not inside of a dome. That's my problem with Goff.
Yeah, your point is totally valid. But again, I feel like I know what I'm going to get with Jared Goff on a more regular basis. I don't always know what I'm going to get with Caleb.
That's a good point.
I feel like Caleb has more up and down games. If he can kind of sustain what he did last season, not necessarily all the heroics, but if he can sustain the higher level of play, then you got me a little bit. But with Jared Goff, I know for the most part, I'm going to get decent quarterback play out of it.
Would you agree with me on this, though? Dak at 6 seems way too high. Like, I have Dak more towards the Goff category at 10 than top 5. I don't think Dak is a top 5 quarterback.
I didn't even hear you mention Lamar in there.
Lamar is in there. Lamar is at 5. So the top 5 is Allen, Mahomes, Stafford, Burrow, Lamar. I think that's probably the right top 5. Now, I want to make the argument Hurts is 6. And I think you can really debate, because the problem I have with Stafford is age. Because I really do think Matthew Stafford's a great quarterback, but how long is he going to play? Would I take him over the young guys? That's my problem with Stafford if I had to think about building my team today. But no, I don't think Dak, like, for example, I really don't think Dak is better. I think Dak and Herbert's close. I don't think Dak is better than Drake May. I don't even think Dak is better than Jared Goff.
Lamar, I was going to say, if Dak was over Lamar, we really had an issue.
Well, they had essentially. I mean, Lamar is 5, Dak is 6.
No, Dak is not that close to Lamar. Come on, what are we doing? As much as I dislike the Baltimore Ravens, when Lamar is playing, you gotta watch.
Okay, so this does lead me into our next topic, because I know it has to deal with Bo Nix. But this is a part of the 100 players list that the NFL players vote on every single year. And I want to put this in perspective before we get into it. This is voted on by the players during the season. So this is not like an after effect. I believe they put in their votes even before like Thanksgiving of last season. So these are the rankings of the quarterbacks that they have out of the top 100 players in the league. 98, they have Bryce Young. 85, they have Brock Purdy. 77, they have Baker Mayfield. 72, they have Jordan Love. Unger, you're not going to like this one. 69, they have Lamar Jackson.
What?
62, they have Trevor Lawrence. And at 59, the 59th best player in the NFL, according to the players, is Bo Nix.
What? Why is Bo Nix 10 spots ahead of a 2-time MVP?
What they are saying is Lamar was injured last year, so he didn't play the whole year. And a lot of people think Lamar has lost his fastball. We were going to put this in the rundown, but I sort of tied it in with this question. A lot of people think Lamar Jackson's done and that the Ravens Super Bowl window is completely closed.
Oh, I don't know about that. But in terms of this question, what we got out of Bo Nix this season was fantastic. I was high on the Denver Broncos coming into
and I thought about this topic because you told me, I think it was week 2 or week 3 of last year, you said you would take Bo Nix, over Joe Burrow, which I still don't agree with, and I never will agree with, because as long as Joe Burrow is healthy, I think he's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL.
That's the problem, though. He can't stay healthy.
Okay, but can I make an argument? Neither can Bo Nix. And by the way, what kind of sent me off a little bit of Bo Nix is I can make a real valid case that if there wasn't a Mother Nature snowstorm in the second half of the ASG Championship game, the Broncos are going to beat the Patriots in that game with Jarrett Stidham.
Which, think about this. The only reason Jarrett Stidham played in that game is because we found out Bo Nix broke his ankle in that divisional round game, and I think he ended up still playing.
Well, no, that was like the last play of the game. Remember, they got in field goal range, and then he jogged off.
Yes. But even still, for him to even get them in field goal range, that says something to your team. Like, there's a reason the Broncos had the reaction they did when they found out he was done.
Yeah, and here's my thing about players list. Players, I guarantee you, don't get to watch everybody in the week. Players only get to really watch who they play throughout the season. So maybe there's a bunch of AFC players that got to see Bo Nix and watch Bo Nix play very well against them and say, you know what, Bo Nix is a really good quarterback. The problem is the NFL is not linear, as I say all the time. A guy can have a good year, a guy can have a bad year. I think it's very interesting that they rank him above a guy like Jordan Love, who just got last offseason a massive 5-year contract extension.
Yeah. But I don't know what to tell you on this one. We're going to see with the Broncos, because they have to play the Patriots again this season. They have to play the Jaguars. They have to play the Bills. They got to play some of the premier AFC contenders.
Now, here's the other thing with this list. I have always argued that ranking list by players in the NFL doesn't make any sense, because you're going to tell me that Bo Nix is less valuable than even a Myles Garrett? No, because I'm sorry, quarterback is just a more valuable position. I think quarterback rankings should just be by themselves. I don't even think they should be included on this list, because of course they're the 32 best players, because if you don't have a quarterback, you don't win games, period.
What's up, Ari? That two of my campers are in the chat, Ari and Aaron.
Welcome to championship ring for the first time, if you are listening.
Yes. But anyway, no, your point is valid. I get what you're saying. I don't always agree with that statement. You know how I feel about quarterback and MVP and quarterback.
Well, again, if you're going to tell me to start a franchise, have a draft, who would I rather take today? Bo Nix or Myles Garrett? Honest to God, I'd probably tell you Bo Nix, because I want a quarterback. I can find edge rushers. I can find receivers.
Yeah. I mean, the Seahawks proved that. Jackson Smith-Njigba, I don't think he was a first-round pick, if I'm not mistaken.
Jackson Smith-Njigba was a late first-round pick.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Seattle had 2 firsts. I believe Witherspoon was the first pick for them that year.
Yes. But we've seen franchises use late-round picks on wide receivers, and they become an integral part of their team.
The only real position, and Jordan Malaya is an exception to this, my Eagles left tackle. But left tackle is the only position where you really can't find talent past the first round.
That part is true.
All right, well, from the football field to the MLB diamond, because the American League last Tuesday night dominated the All-Star Game. The National League only got 3 hits. The American League scored 3 runs in the first inning, and from there, all intents and purposes, was over. But I wanted to talk about the All-Star Game for this reason, because this is a new trend that we are doing in sports media for All-Star games and other different sort of games that really don't mean much, that I think is absolutely pointless, and I don't understand it at all. I do not like that we have players either on the field or at bat or pitching or in the dugout. It doesn't matter. Why are we interviewing players during the game? Why are we talking to a third baseman while he's out there fielding? It does nothing to the freaking broadcast. As a matter of fact, it brings it down. The old time Parker Messick, the great Cleveland Guardian left-handed all-star, was out there on the mound. All the announcers were talking about was Justin freaking Verlander. And again, I'm not a guy that sits here and says the media is biased towards Cleveland, but come on, man. Like, that was a joke. I thought the whole breaks in between the game where they do the special awards or they sing something, or like, it didn't flow right. I didn't like the fact they didn't have the AL and NL jerseys. I always prefer that as opposed to them wearing their regular uniforms. I get why, because you want to recognize what team they're on. Okay, they can wear their own team to me, at least give them a uniform. So I don't know. I thought the entire All-Star week this year for baseball, between the Home Run Derby on Netflix, which was good presentation, and the All-Star Game on Fox, which again overall was a good, decent game, were both ruined by the presentation of both.
So overall, I loved the Home Run Derby. I personally thought there was nothing wrong with it. I loved the new format and everything.
I love the new format. I thought the commentary on it was complete garbage. Ellie Duncan sounded like she did not want to be there. Barry Bonds did not want to be there. What's his name? Festa, the guy who also calls him, I think it's Matt Festa, maybe the play-by-play guy. He's a play-by-play guy. He's not a home run derby guy. Give me, you mean
Chris Matt Vasgersian?
Matt Vasgersian, yeah, that's his name. He's not calling back. That's what I want out of the home run derby. Entertainment, fun, not, oh, it's gone.
I thought he did really well in the final between Schwarber and Jordan Walker.
Sure, he did well because it was a big moment. I just mean throughout the entire freaking thing. He sounded bored. I'm being real.
Well, then you and I were watching two different broadcasts because I thought. But in terms of the actual All-Star game, I understood it, why they added everything to it, because they were in Philadelphia. It was for the 250th. The All-Star game next year is going to be at Wrigley Field in Chicago. We'll see if they add all the theatrics and stuff to that. What's up, Aaron? Yeah, I know you like to call me the GOAT, Ari. I know. But
he's not the GOAT of debate. That's me. And you will learn that.
Yeah, right. Sure. I've been right on my prediction more often than you.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let's just wait till football season. By the way, who was right on the entire NBA playoffs almost? Me.
Oh, really? Who said?
Yeah, I was. Who picked the Knicks against the Spurs in the finals in March? Me.
Okay. Remember, I picked the Raptors to go to the playoffs. You did not. You had the freaking.
What did you do? You picked I picked the entire NBA playoff bracket, almost correct round for round.
I had the Broncos making it to the playoffs. I had the Pacers getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. I have 3 up on you right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, in terms of the actual All-Star game, I wanted to get into it, but I didn't love it. I really didn't. I did not have. Huh?
I'm just doing AI to clip that for us.
I
Josh, you have so much aura. Okay,
Oh.
well, it's something I wasn't aware of. I thought aura only applied to wrestling.
Oh, trust me, I know these two that are in the chat right now. I know these two. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you two tomorrow at camp. Don't you worry.
I love it. But no, okay, so go on, because I keep interrupting. I'm sorry. You did not enjoy the All-Star game.
And hopefully my camera is working better now.
It's better. It's not perfect, but it's better.
Okay. I did unplug my computer from the charger. Maybe that's making a difference. I don't know.
As you just froze again.
Oh, come on. But anyway, yeah, like there was no drama to it. There was no excitement. It's 3-0. Yay.
Yeah, it was a pitcher's duel from then on out. I mean, the AL, again, they got 3 early, and the NL only got 3 hits total, and the American League continued their dominance. I don't know. I said it last week, and I'll say it again. There was nothing wrong with the All-Star game 10 years ago when we had the American League versus the National League, and they each wore their jerseys, and it was for home field in the World Series, and no one cried about it. And I said it, about the home run derby. We had an out system where you get 3 outs, and that's it. You hit the homers until you're out. There's no bonus ball. Now they got to add all these shenanigans in it and complicate the damn thing.
I thought the home run derby was easy to follow, but that's just me.
It was easier to follow than the time, but I'm just saying, back in the day, it was easier. I know I sound like an old man. I don't care.
Yeah, you really do.
All right, Josh. Well, I know you watch AEW every week, and we'll get to Redemption in a minute, but you said you might watch Saturday Night's Main Event. What did you see?
I saw the really good tag team match. Between Cody and Punk versus Gunther and Sammy. I saw the really stupid main event with Jalen Brunson and Seth Rollins and Tyrese Halliburton and Roman Reigns, which really did nothing to advance the feud. It was just kind of there. They did that purely because it was in Madison Square Garden. I did not watch JD McDonough versus Danhausen. I wish I had been able to watch Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria, but I have since gone back and watched that match. And I know that Fatal Influence or whatever. Yeah, that's what they're called, right?
Correct.
They are the new women's tag team champions, which thank God, because maybe we can actually get some decent matches in the women's tag team division now.
Yeah, remember like 6 months ago when the women's tag team division was on fire, and then they decided we don't want it to be on fire anymore randomly?
Yep. And with Bayley losing and getting absolutely brutalized by Lyra, that's just fueling even more speculation that she's not renewing her contract and she's coming over to AEW. Whether that turns out to be true or not, I don't know.
I think it could, but I don't think that means that was her last match. I'll say it both ways.
So, again, my thing with that is I wish they had not done the first match at Saturday Night's Main Event. I wanted them to keep the story going and do the big first match at SummerSlam. I guess you can do the rematch there if you really want to. But you only have really less than a week to build it because SummerSlam.
I thought being in MSG was a good test for Lyra's first match as a heel. And I thought she knocked it out of the park with absolutely living colors. I didn't know how it was going to go. I thought she looked really good in her presentation, as I said before the match, but I wanted to see how it worked in the ring. And Lyra and Bayley absolutely killed it. And maybe the blood spot where it looked like Lyra actually maybe broke her nose, maybe it added more to the fight, but Lyra took it like a champ. They didn't stop the match. It worked right through. It played into the story. I thought it was actually the best match of the night, even more so than the tag team match.
I know the camera had to cut away a couple times. And And the match felt a bit clunky because, like, it felt like they had to stop things to take care of the blood.
And did, but it almost Bailey and her almost turned that into a real fight, which I like matches that feel like they're going to turn into a fight.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying like the blood and stuff was bad for the match, but I'm saying them having to stop what they were doing so they could clean up the blood a little bit. It made it feel a little bit clunky, and it felt like the match at times lost the rhythm. That's more of what I'm getting at.
No, I agree with that. I sort of felt that same way about the tag team match at the end. I would have rather, again, I will reiterate, I'd rather had Nick Aldis screw Gunther out of a rematch one-on-one with Punk than doing it here in the tag team match. And I don't like the fact that Gunther did take the fall, because I think Gunther taking falls should be protected. This is only, his 7th main roster loss, or maybe it's more now at this point that Cody's beaten him X amount of times since they started their feud. But obviously, we knew where they were going with it. We know it's going to be CM Punk, Cody Rhodes. We know it's going to be Gunther against Nick Aldis. It makes me really wonder what they're going to do with Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you run back Sami Zayn as a special guest referee again. Does Sami get involved in the match? There is that elephant in the room of there is a certain Viper who at some point is going to have to come back. We have not seen him since literally WrestleMania Saturday. So I'm interested to see where they go with this WWE title run. And by the way, CM Punk, he's not a heel in this situation, but he's acting more of a heel than Cody is.
Which they're not going to have a lot of time to build that feud, because SummerSlam is literally next weekend.
Well, and that makes part of me believes is why they're not going to want time to build this feud, because I don't think this is the last match between the two, right? I mean, I think you could do a scenario where you sort of have this match where it's good guy versus good guy, and maybe somewhere along the line, Punk does sort of a more fledged out heel turn the way Sami Zayn has done, and you can get back to Punk and Cody down the line.
I don't know. That's the problem with playing Saturday night's main event where they did. I feel like it kind of took away from the build to SummerSlam, which honestly, some of these matches just haven't had the strongest build. Like, I feel like Liv Morgan versus Io Sky, that's just kind of in the background. It's just kind of...
It's been a weird build, because I thought they were going to do something different with that match to offset it from Night of Champions. There is nothing different about the story of that match going into Night of Champions than there is at SummerSlam.
Yeah. Like, Liv hasn't defended the title at all since winning it at WrestleMania. It feels like she's been involved in other stuff, so I don't know why we put the title on her to begin with. But
Stephanie Malcara hasn't been seen since WrestleMania either, and now because of Rhea's injury, they decide to dare I say pull an AEW, which I do not like, and put an interim championship on someone, which they've never done before, and
that's going to be decided in a ladder match.
And to me, why not just make? And I get it. They probably want to get Tiffany Stratton on the card because she's from Minneapolis. Why not put her in a women's U.S. championship feud then? And why not do Charlotte and Jade one-on-one for a vacant championship and strip Rhea the title? I don't like the interim tag. I think it's stupid. I even think it's stupid when they do it in real fighting in the UFC. It makes no sense to me to tag an interim champion when you can just strip the guy of the title, and when he comes back, he gets a title match. It's that, to me, it's the same thing.
I don't always understand it either.
And they're like, well, Rhea could be out 3 weeks, or she could be out 3 months. Well, strip the title off her. If she's out 3 weeks, she comes back, she can win the title right back. John Cena has 16 world title reigns. What, are you afraid she's going to get to Charlotte's record and break it?
I guess.
I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know about that. I don't.
WWE's in a weird spot right now. Like, the thing I'm most invested in is this LA Knight, Royce Keys, Solo Sikoa versus Gigapatu and the Usos, which, can we get LA Knight away from the bloodline? This is basically the same match he was involved in at WrestleMania.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but to be honest, I think all roads are leading to LA Knight going one-on-one with Roman Reigns after SummerSlam. I think Roman's going to beat Seth, and his next feud, I believe, will be LA Knight. Maybe at Money in the Bank, maybe at Sunday night's main event in Atlanta. I don't know where they'll do it at. But to me, the logical thing, because I thought that you could have ran LA Knight and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam if you really wanted to. LA Knight's been talking all this crap about the bloodline. It's got to lead to him having one more match with Roman and Roman beating him clean with no bloodline interference.
Yeah, I guess. And hopefully this face turn by Solo Sikoa is real, because I'm liking this new version of Solo, but my guess is that it's not.
Well, I'll go back to, again, I think one of the sort of weird things, and AEW does it too. It's more of a wrestling thing now, but WWE is really leaning into it because it's the same thing for Roman and Seth and for Cody and Punk. There's not definitive heels and faces anymore. And I think that's what makes it really hard to get a good build for a match because, you know, even for like Owen Brock, it's going to be great. It's Hell in a Cell. But people cheer Brock Lesnar. People love Oba Femi, but they love Brock Lesnar too. Like, that's what made John Cena versus Gunther, John Cena's last match, feel so special. Is because Gunther, whether you think it was the right decision for him to do it or not, was really a heel. And was a guy that you can boo, and the fans can get behind a super babyface in John Cena. And the same worked when Logan Paul was a heel, and they did their match at Clash in Paris. Like, when you have the best wrestling, that's why Cody and Rowan worked for the last 2 years, WrestleMania 39, WrestleMania 40. The best wrestling, I believe, is when you have a babyface chasing a dastardly heel.
Yeah. Like Oba versus Brock. I didn't need the second match. I don't need this Hell in a Cell match. Like, Oba squished Brock and then Brock retired, which it sounds like that was truly legit. Because from what I heard, like on WWE Unreal, like
I cannot wait to watch season 3. I cannot wait to watch season 3.
I might get into it and watch it. Which, by the way, I heard that it was Triple H's call to bring Pat McAfee into the Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton stuff, so that Cody could become more likable, and Randy and Pat would be more dislikable or hated.
I personally think that is a cover up for TKO. I do find it interesting that it looks like that John Cena said that he knew he was wrestling Gunther before he even knew he was wrestling Brock.
Which I still don't get why they had Brock squish Cena at WrestlePalooza.
Because Brock is Cena. Technically, Brock was Cena's rival he can never beat.
So, I don't know. It's WWE's in a weird spot going into SummerSlam.
I think that a lot of the writers that have been there for a long time, and I'm talking like under the old regime, I think are starting to go back to the old regime way of doing things.
Like, there's been no build really for Penta versus Chad Gable for the Intercontinental Championship, but they're going to have that match. You know, again, we talked about it. Io versus Liv. It's just kind of there. They just announced last night Danhausen versus Dominic Mysterio at SummerSlam. Roman wasn't on the show again last night. Yeah, the only match that they really promoted for SummerSlam last night was the 6-man tag.
And with that, it's a good transition over to what is being promoted for this weekend, because Always Wrestling presents its Redemption paper.
Yes, this is the first time ever AEW is putting on this pay-per-view. It will emanate from the Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, home of the Montreal Canadiens. A lot of people, including myself, thought this is where they were going to do the MJF versus Kenny Omega world title match, and that's why it was called Redemption, so that Kenny could win the title back in Canada, but obviously that didn't end up happening. So instead, Kenny will be defending his title in the main event against the current TNT champion, Kevin Knight, which is Kevin Knight still going to be the TNT champion going into that match, because he is facing Darby Allin for the title tomorrow night on Dynamite in Nashville. We also have, for the Women's World Championship, Tekla versus Willow Nightingale. The winner of that match is going to face Mercedes Moné at All in Wembley Stadium. My guess is it's going to be Willow, because AEW has done Willow versus Mercedes Moné multiple times. I would much rather see Tekla versus Mercedes. I think the feud between them would be way better, and it's a match we haven't seen yet, so why not? We also have, for the tag team championships, Claudio Castagnoli and Pac of the Death Riders challenging Christian Cage and Adam Copeland. This is because Adam Copeland and Christian Cage have been heavily involved with the Death Riders and the Dogs, David Finlay and Clark Connors. So that's a whole dynamic. They just defeated Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia for the tag team titles on last week's episode of Dynamite, so they want to take care of the other parts of the Death Riders, except for Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay, who are going to be involved in what I believe is going to be a match of the year candidate against the Young Bucks. My God, whenever Will Ospreay faces the Young Bucks, it's a match of the year contender.
There's going to be 30 super kicks and 20 thumbtack spots, and then they'll kick out at one. Everyone will say 5.5-star match.
It's not, well, there won't be any thumbtacks.
They'll find a way. It's a Moxley match. We'll be bleeding in 10 seconds.
But, God, the Ospreay and Swerve against the Young Bucks last year at All In, that was my match of the year. It was unbelievable. I probably have gone back and watched that match at least 10 times, if not more. It was that good.
I need to go back and watch that match now so I can understand why this match is so good that you went back and watched it 10 times.
It's that damn good. We have Kyle Fletcher versus Bandito, who is the Ring of Honor Men's World Champion. Bandito is challenging Kyle Fletcher for the AEW International Championship. Hikaru Shida is defending the TBS Championship against Maya World. Which
Jesus Christ, how many matches are on this show?
Mark Davis is defending the National Championship against Andrade El Idolo. You have the Painmaker, Chris Jericho, taking on Tommaso Ciampa. No holds barred. And, like I said, Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks. So that's your whole redemption card.
9 matches right now. There'll probably be 2 or 3 additional out of the pre-show, which means you better get some coffee because you're going to be up late.
Well, I have a little bit of a confession to make. I unfortunately will not be able to watch this pay-per-view live. I have to go back and watch it later. I already
we have a little bit of an announcement to make, a little bit related to this and the show. Josh is going to South Carolina.
Yes, I am. But I will be doing the show from South Carolina next Tuesday, so I will not be able to watch SummerSlam either. And I'm not going to pay for it on ESPN because I just don't want to.
Where we will preview it, though, as best we can next week. Hopefully, we have some LeBron decision.
My guess is we will not.
Really? You think this thing carries into next week?
Yep.
Again, even I, as patient as I am starting to get a little bit disturbed. Only because I'm in the media space. If we didn't have a show to do, I wouldn't be mad. But outside of the World Cup, this has been an extremely dry July.
Yep. And now that the World Cup is over, we really don't have anything the rest of July.
Well, I'm sure you'll be watching some WNBA. I'll be watching some baseball. But at this point, we are waiting for NFL training camp to start.
Yeah, and WNBA All-Star Game stuff is this weekend, which I honestly forgot about. We still don't know, by the way, what the name of the Cleveland WNBA team is going to be. I thought they would have unveiled their name and identity by now. So I'm waiting for that.
We'll have to see, but that will wrap it up for tonight's show. As always, I'm Brendan Woods, the host of Brand's World. That is Ungar to the Max, Josh Ungar, the host of the Sports Room Talk Show. We will be back next Tuesday. I will be in my humble abode in Cleveland, Ohio. Josh will be in South Carolina, coming to us to preview SummerSlam and talk all things sports. With that all, have a wonderful evening, and peace.
Bye-bye.